The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Oh, yeah. It's sexy times once again. Flesh Wound After Dark. I'm Flesh Wound Dan, joined by producer Todd.
You're going to scare off the listeners, Dan. Jeez.
I'm not. I'm drawing them in. My sexy voice. How are you doing, producer Todd?
I was doing okay till I had to deal with that opening.
Well, you know, that's got to draw them in.
On my solo After Dark unboxing, which you can already watch, I don't do any of that stuff.
Well, I'm kind of like the modern Andrew Stevens, I think. I got to draw the ladies in. I'm still looking for my Shannon Tweed, though, but I can never reach full Andrew Stevens status until I get my Shannon Tweed. And we're talking once again about the first couple of erotic thrillers, Andrew Stevens and Shannon Tweed. So it's a good one. It's always a marquee episode when we talk about those two. And tonight we are talking Scorned and Scorned 2. But we'll kick it off, of course, with the first one, which does feature Andrew Stevens and Shannon Tweed. With just one of them making the return for two, but we'll get into that. So Scorned from 1993 and also directed by Andrew Stevens follows a vengeful widow who is out to seduce the relatives of the man she blames for her husband's death. So yes, basically, Shannon Tweed is in a relationship with this guy, Truman, who not a very nice guy. He's basically pimping her out so he can get this promotion, pimps her out to this sleazy businessman after essentially being cucked by this guy. He doesn't get the promotion and doesn't take it well, ends up taking his life, and it sends her down a spiral of madness. And she just, you know what? I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to fuck everybody in this family, and I'm going to get my revenge. Very much. This one's heavily influenced by 1992's Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Absolutely.
The big hit year prior. This one's a ton of fun. I really, really like Scorned. I don't know. Well, it didn't launch a big franchise like the Night Eyes films did, but nonetheless, this one
came later though too.
Yeah, it came a little bit later. And there was also a big break in between the movies, which we'll talk about. But once again, this is just super entertaining. It is plot driven, but it delivers all the spiciness that you could want later on. And once again, Shannon Tweed flexing her acting muscles, because she has some rough dialogue that a lesser actress probably couldn't make work, but she manages to do it. And I think this one's really strong. I think it holds up very well. Once again, this is another movie that I worry will be lost on a generation. I know it came out in some areas, I guess, as a woman Scorned, if you're looking for it. But
I got a couple blue DVDs with that title.
Yeah, in the US, I believe this only had, of course, the VHS and a Laserdisc release. And apparently there's a super, super, super rare media book from Europe, maybe Germany, I believe.
Yeah,
that's
German disc.
Yeah, that's like impossible to find, I think. So this has a lot of tropes of the time. I mean, the son in this looks like he's about 33, playing 17, I believe he's supposed to be. It all works for it. I thought the maid was really funny,
Yeah.
particularly her kind of Home Alone scene. This movie is a blast. You do not get this anymore, and I'm not even talking about the erotic content in the film. It's just so much fun, so much fun. And before I rattle on more, though, Todd, like where does Scorned rank for you?
This is 100% my favorite erotic thriller.
Mm-hmm.
I love this one. I always have. It's just something about
Your favorite period?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I
nice.
love some night eyes, but this one, yeah, is.
Mm.
Also, I have to say I'm a huge fan of Hand the Rock's Cradle also. So that's
Mm.
one of my favorite suspense films from that era. So it's you basically cross that with an erotic thriller with Shannon Tweed and Andrew Stevens. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
How do I not love this thing? Yeah, I this is so
The fight scenes were actually pretty fun too, like when the Tweed and the wife just like
yeah.
luge down the steps, and I think it's just funny. I'm waiting for like the modern day remake where whoever replaces Shannon Tweed's like getting stuck under the coffee table, and we know all that's coming at some point. I'd welcome a remake because again, film companies out there, I'm looking at you. These movies are way more popular than you realize, and I think they would sell exceptionally well if you
Well,
can get the rights.
there is like also it seems like there's kind of like well, it looks like we're at the beginning of a resurgence. There's a documentary now.
We Kill for Love. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Check out our review on that. Yeah, it's like it feels like and the time is right. And I know a lot of those Tubi originals walk the line of erotic thrillers now, like some of their
Yeah.
and I don't know. It feels like the resurgence for the originals, like the ones we grew up on or the ones we grew up on, and a new generation. I'd love to like this genre to come back from the near death it's on.
It's never like went away totally, but it's definitely not exactly the same. I mean, we've talked about Asylum, actually, the Charisma Carpenter movie Bound.
Yeah.
It's like a good example. I mean, that's, probably close to 8 or 9 years old, something like that. So it's not new, but yeah, no, it would be nice to see like a full on resurgence with like mainstream actors like Andrew Stevens in it.
See, when you said mainstream actors, you kind of go a little, yeah. That's
I'm saying like an actor that didn't start in these kinds of films. Like not just a Jay Richardson erotic thriller. Let's take a shot at it again.
I just don't want to see like we had last time where they started to become like big theatricals, like stuff that you wouldn't like the era, like Color of Night. While I love that movie, I think it's like past the era. And I think when they started getting more theatrical ones, it kind of watered them down. Kind of killed the home.
Yeah, they did.
It killed the home video market. So I preferred like, the home video than the big budget.
The height of the erotic thriller really for me was home video releases like this. Now, I mean, again, we had Basic Instinct.
Well, yeah, those also, but that's just like in most that like really kicked off the craze. So even though it started theatrical and then we got all this, generation of filmmakers who just took it and did their own thing. I mean, that that's a little different than like just keeping the theatrical. Like, I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is certainly one of the more entertaining ones as we've been going along here. If you're making a checklist, Scorned is one you have to see. It is one that, quite frankly, I think you could watch it with your wife and she'd probably have a blast with it too. It's a fun movie. It really is. And obviously you get everything you would want to see from Shannon Tweed as well. It's also very funny. Like just the seduction of the son, I thought was actually pretty hilarious. This one is just so good. And like I said, some of that dialogue, which you could pick at, she sells it so fucking well. The spanking scene is hilarious. The it's just it's almost impossible to nail this tone anymore. Just hitting that right tone. I can see, somebody just doing it as a soft core film once again, which is not the same thing as an erotic thriller. I always try and make that distinction, but the chemistry was always really strong with Andrew Stevens and Shannon Tweed, which is why they did so many movies together. And we do get a pool table scene. Pool table sees some action, and I mean, you can kind of laugh at the idea that nobody really caught on until towards the very end what she was doing. Number one, who hires fucking Shannon Tweed to try and tutor your son?
I would.
Yeah, that kid ain't passing the class, Todd. Like, I'm giving no shits about my trig test when I've got Shannon Tweed. Like, yeah, I'm good. College is overrated. High school is overrated. Middle school is over. I don't need it. I've got Shannon Tweed. So yeah, I would agree. This is an elite level erotic thriller that deserves more eyes on it. I mean, please, Terror Vision, Vinegar Syndrome. I don't care who. Like,
I don't see Vinegar Syndrome. They've already kind of written off that in the sex comedies. But I could see someone a Terror Vision, Culture Shock. They're a little more open-minded too. But yeah, anyone, I don't care. MVD. I mean, they're, they did the DVDs. So, I mean, yeah, bring it on. More now.
There's a lot. I'll put it this way, and I love what Vinegar Syndrome has been putting out, but I can guarantee you there were a lot more eyes on Scorned back in the day than most of what you put out. And I'm just being realistic there. Scorned was, I mean, that was something.
Talking shit on your precious Billy Blanks.
You know what? Yes, I think more people were probably checking out Scorned.
But when we get to some of the other action stars, I think might beat some of your favorites.
It might. I mean, this is a movie that we all tried to see. Even if we were like younger, this is the kind of shit that you tried to figure out when you had HBO, or if you didn't have it and you got one of those free trials or Cinemax, whatever. You went and you taped this. You saw Shannon Tweed and Andrew Stevens. You were in for a good time. And this was one that I lucked out. I actually managed to get a VHS of this one. And I don't know. Like I said, I was a good bullshitter, and I found ways to get a hold of certain things.
I just went to the video store and rented it. It was a different time.
I know.
I got it opening day. I've said it before. Only 2 movies I ever got like, whoa. You got to get your mom to come in for that. Henry and June totally makes sense. It was technically only able to be rented by a 17-year-old. And Frankenhooker, I was offended by that. I was like, one, this is not rated, and you've seen what the fuck else I watch.
But it's a toy. The VHS talks to us. It's like a doll. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I never had any issues with the erotic thrillers, though.
Yeah, I guess it was easier. You try and, I mean, I'm going later, a decade later now, but like something like Playmate of the Apes, like you were going to have a little bit more trouble, like bullshitting, because it's like, okay, but you put up something like Scorned. Oh, okay, whatever. I mean, Shannon Tweed did a bunch of different kinds of movies too. I mean, she was an action star. She did several action movies. She did Hot Dog the movie. That's
reality television star
after this, but yes, absolutely. So
accomplishments.
Yeah, no, I do fondly remember getting a hold of this one myself and just being like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
See, when I was a kid, and it's funny going through my stuff, I actually came across it. I used to, get the video store, like not the video store magazines, like the the ones they used to order the movies. So I'd like go through and just like, this is coming out, this, and just like write the street dates down. And that was one that I remember. It was one I was waiting for because I saw who was in it, and I was already a fan of the Night Eyes films.
What video store did you get it from?
96. It might have been Tower.
Oh, you didn't see it until 96?
I'm 93. I'm sorry.
93. Okay.
It would, because I got it the day it came out. I was like, I used to go to the video store right when it opened. I think I probably did. No, I was.
I did
sure.
those days. I remember coming home from school and like getting to stop at the video store.
If there's something I really wanted, I just ditched school. And then it didn't get any better when it switched to music, and I was going, oh well, it's Tuesday. Because I don't know how far you go back, because Tuesday is pretty much the standard release date. It's been for a long time.
Yeah,
but before that, if we go back to like when it was Wednesday and Thursday were your 2 release days for VHS tapes. I don't know why they split it up, and then it became Tuesday and Wednesday, and then all of a sudden everyone, we're just doing Tuesday. It like became it was a weird like transition, but I used to go there every Wednesday and Thursday, then Tuesday and Wednesday. I remember going and picking this one up at Tower.
Scorned is insanely entertaining. It should be watched. If you've been watching these episodes and you're making your lists, put Scorned near the top of it for sure. I don't want to go as far as to say, I mean, if you had Shannon Tweed and Andrew Stevens together, I don't think you can go wrong in the erotic thriller market.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you see Andrew Stevens' name on any of the directing ones too, those are, no matter who's in it.
Yes, and also the father-son fight in here was also really funny too. So they still have that kind of like soap opera aspect about them that makes them couple friendly. That was something that was talked about a lot with these films back in the day. It was like, like a lot of the detractors, and I've had it said to me many times, why do you like these movies when you just have adult movies now easily accessible? And I'm like, it's not the same thing. And if you do have a girlfriend or wife, whatever, a lot of women don't like the hard stuff. This you can watch. It's a sexy film, but it is a film, and it has other things going on beyond just the skin. So once again, just to remind you, we rate these based on what they are, and for what this is, I give it a 5.
Dan always says I rate them. That's a him thing. I go off my enjoyment, and my enjoyment as it is the first day I watched it to the day it is today, 5.
I think I enjoyed even more today, actually. I mean, because, we're starved for it. So we do get a sequel in 1997. So a good long wait in between for Scorned 2. This time from director Rodney McDonald. And in this one, Amanda Foley has confusing nightmares and flashbacks that lead her to seek professional help. Nothing can shed light on her repressed memories until she happens to catch her husband, a college professor, having sex with one of his students. Then the past becomes dangerously clear. All right, so Scorned 2. So I think that they waited way too long to get a sequel to this out there.
It's probably more of a case of the video distributor wanting a Scorned 2, because this is from a different company than originally. So 97 was tough too, because we were kind of past that erotic thrillers boom.
Yeah, the boom was definitely kind of over at this point. And we do get Andrew Stevens returning in a smaller role as Alex Weston. This at least is functional as a sequel, because we kind of pick up right where we left off at the end with that surprise ending with Tweed and the son. So when we jump in here, they're searching for their son and for Amanda Foley, who they know survived her fall out the window. So I kind of like that. At least you can watch these back to back and they kind of fit together. This one's not as good. We have Tane McClure replacing Shannon Tweed, and Tane McClure is good. She's not Shannon Tweed, but similar enough that you can kind of roll with it. Certainly with her memory issues and everything. She's a little bit different anyways for a portion of this. The first half of this one is pretty slow. I think it picks up a little bit more in the second half. But yeah, it's not great.
It's funny. This is one of those sequels I kind of wish they would have just done, what they do with a lot of the erotic thrillers and just kind of scrubbed whatever we did and just kind of go with the similar situation as the previous one. I mean, I would have been okay with that on this one if we just would have done that and just similar scenario, new family, like happened on some of the other ones we've covered. So I would have been okay with that in this case because it's not the same as the other. It's definitely a step down, unfortunately, but it's still entertaining enough. Like you said, the first half drags, but I kind of would have, I would have been okay if we would have went a totally different direction.
I think it might have helped too if we had Andrew Stevens as more the focus of this. I didn't think the other people were as interesting. I will say, we talked on a previous show about Wendy Schumacher, who plays the student that's having the affair in this one. Didn't make a lot of movies, but certainly made an impression. She's gorgeous, but this one just kind of misses on a lot of fronts. I don't think it's particularly sexy. I didn't feel the chemistry there with the actors as much this time. And this one was kind of a letdown. I remember, we're not talking forever, but 4 years, I can remember being really excited and seeing this at the video store and just thinking like, wow, I'm surprised it took that long because we had Night Eyes where we got so many of those, but we got 4 of them.
One of those was a late one too.
Yeah, that is kind of the last gasp, I guess.
That, this, and Horde 2 were all just kind of like too late to the party. Those 3.
Yeah. I forget about Horde 2. Wow.
Well, we'll eventually talk about Horde, so we will be talking about Horde 2.
Yes, yeah.
Coming soon to an After Dark once Kino releases the disc.
Or the Horror Double. That sounds bad.
Well, we could use the old news. If you can't say it, just see it. Double feature. Yeah.
This one's can be skipped, and it's another one that kind of ends where presumably they could have kept busting out Scorned movies, but yeah, I agree with you. It might have been better with this one. Just do something totally different and just try and use the name. But as it is, I'm a 2.5 on Scorned 2. It's watchable, but it drags a little bit. That's a generous 2.5.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you. I'm a 2.5 on this one too. It's middle of the road for me. But glad, I revisited, it's one I think this is probably only the second time I watched it. So I'm glad I got to, finally assess it better.
Yeah, we're blasting through these Shannon Tweed erotic thrillers. I'm trying to think, even in my own head, what we have left in terms.
We have Last Call. We have Sexual Response. What's that? Cold Sweat. So we got some coming.
All still coming. So yes, be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll have a lot of obscure ones coming as well.
I got a couple SOV ones I've never seen. I'm curious on.
There's more than a few SOV ones. There's some SOV kind of more horror themed erotic thrillers, but there's definitely some that fall on the SOV. So I don't know. I don't know if we do them on After Dark or if we do it on Analog Nightmares,
which is back. So you guys can check out some SOV horror on there.
Yeah, we're so much SOV has been coming to Blu-ray, ironically enough. So you will be seeing a lot more analog nightmares popping up. So yes, stay tuned for that. We will have, obviously, we're not even close to running out of erotic thrillers, so you'll see plenty of that. Check out the Black Emmanuel After Darks as well, and we hope to keep bringing you all of this content. And I believe that's about it. Check out the We Kill for Love documentary, of course, which also does the Lord's work and highlights this era of films that, once again, I think is just vastly underappreciated. It really is. So, if any companies are watching these episodes, they're our most popular episodes by far. There's interest, guys. Get some of these out on Blu-ray. They deserve it. So with that being said, I am Flesh Wound Dan signing out. Hit that sexy intro, producer Todd.
God damn it, Dan.